Y'all remember this fool that tried to trick us all into believing she was kidnapped by two hillbillies after seeing the couple's toddler on the side of the interstate at night? She said they put her in their 18-wheeler and the wife played with her hair and fed her Cheez-Its. The Secret Service saw that a couple of days prior to being taken, Carlee was researching if you had to pay back Amber Alerts, as well as the maximum Amber Alert age. She also looked up the movie Taken, which is about a man's daughter being kidnapped. She also looked up the Birmingham, Alabama bus station, a one-way ticket from Birmingham to Nashville, Tennessee, leaving on July 13th, and how to take money from a cash register without being caught. During the day on July 13th before her faked kidnapping, Carlee was seen on video stealing a bathrobe and toilet paper from her job at the Woodhouse Day Spa, as well as getting food at a place called the Colonnade, and then going to Target and getting some snacks. After that, Carlee seems to head for interstate and starts her kidnapping plan. Carlee calls 911 around 9:30 p.m. to say that she sees a toddler in a diaper on the side of Interstate 459, and is seen pulling over but no child or other person seems to be visible. She then states that she was kidnapped by an orange-haired man who was balding, and his wife, and taken into their 18-wheeler truck, along with their toddler son, leaving her nice-ass Mercedes behind, along with her phone, purse, robe, TP and wig. The snacks were taken. She says she had escaped from the 18-wheeler at some point but was then put into a car and taken to a house where they told her to take off her clothes and she believes she was photographed. She says she escaped the house 2 days later and made it back home.
That's kinda sus though.
The afternoon of July 15th, law enforcement gets a call from a local Red Roof Inn, saying that members of Carlee's family were seen at the motel and had said that Carlee called them and told them that she was there. There was no record of anyone named Carlee Russell checking in at the motel, although she could have used a different name or had someone else do it for her. Later that night around 10:45, camera footage shows Carlee walking back toward her parents' house, seeming to be walking normally until getting close to the house, then she starts running up to the door and begins knocking. Police then arrived to the home to find Carlee only having a small cut on her lip, as well as $107 that she said had been in her sock the last 2 days throughout the kidnapping. Law enforcement took Carlee's statement of the events and then took her to the hospital for evaluation. Now about 8 months later, this crazy fool is finally being sentenced for her absolutely ridiculous made-up scenarios, wasting police money, time, and resources, as well as theft, and faking her own kidnapping. This girl is absolutely insane.
You swear the testimony you're about to give shall be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, so help you God.
Yes, sir.
You are Carlethia Russell?
Yes, sir.
You can put your hand down. This is CC 23-888 and 889. You were charged in each of these cases with making a false police report, which are misdemeanor offenses. I'm showing you a document titled Explanation of Rights. Did you go over this document with your lawyers?
Yes, sir.
Is that your signature on the last page?
Yes, sir.
Do you have any questions about this document or about your rights?
No, sir.
All right then, and there is no plea agreement here. Do you understand that?
Yes, sir.
In CC 23-888, as to the misdemeanor offense of making a false police report, how do you plead?
Guilty.
And in CC 23-889, as to the misdemeanor offense of making a false police report, how do you plead?
Guilty.
Fine. Do you have, let's see, I'm a little out of order here. I'm showing you Court's Exhibit B. Did you go over this document with your lawyers?
Yes, sir.
And is that your signature at the bottom?
Yes, sir.
Are you satisfied that your attorneys, Mr. Henry Anthony, Richard Jaffe, and Lucky Milad,
Yes,
are
sir.
good and competent attorneys and have represented you well?
Yes, sir.
Are you satisfied with the plea agreements in these cases?
Yes, sir.
You're pleading guilty of your own free will?
Yes, sir.
Has anyone forced you or coerced you to plead guilty?
No, sir.
Has anybody promised you anything in exchange for your plea?
No, sir.
Are you pleading guilty because you are in fact guilty?
Yes, sir.
All right, at this time, before we proceed, well, I find that your plea was made knowingly and voluntarily, and based on your plea, I find you guilty. Before sentencing, first, is there anything that the Attorney General's office would like to add?
Yes, Your Honor, if you don't mind. As the court is aware, I've asked to speak today, and I have a lot to say, but the court has asked me to limit it to 2 minutes, and so I will do that. First of all, this case has always been about respect for law enforcement and respect for this community as a whole. Ms. Russell faked a kidnapping, duped the community, and contrived this situation. We still, Judge, don't know to this day where she was, how she got there, what she was doing, with whom she was doing it with. Once we figured out that she was supposedly missing, the community got involved. Hundreds of people got involved. They took time away from their families, their work, their fun. Law enforcement got involved, from federal, state to local. And they took time away from their family, their people, their work, other cases that needed to be solved. This has been a case that it was taken advantage of, and it's our contention that Ms. Russell knew this would happen. She had researched it on the computer. She had researched search terms about Amber Alerts and the movie Taken, all of those things. And then, Judge, when she came home, we have ring camera footage of her walking casually down her parents' street, and when she gets in front of her parents' house, she runs up there and starts beating on the door. Police were called. The body cams show that she's flailing around and still perpetuating this ruse that she was kidnapped. The ambulance was called. She goes to the hospital and she finally speaks with law enforcement, and that's when she tells the story about that orange-haired man and woman playing with her hair and eating Cheez-Its. This ruse continues. And it doesn't stop until a couple of days later when her lawyer issues a statement. So I have to say, Judge, that because of this ongoing complete disrespect for this community as well as law enforcement, it is our contention that she should get some jail time. I understand that it's a misdemeanor. I do. But because of the effect it has had on law enforcement as well as on the community, we feel even if it's weekends in jail or nights in jail, that some sort of incarceration is warranted in this case. I think I kept it under 2 minutes.
All right, thank you, Ms. Morris. All right, is there anything from the defense attorneys?
No, sir.
Judge, what we're going to do is going to let Ms. Russell make a statement.
Okay, Ms. Russell, before being sentenced, you do have a right to make a statement. Is there anything you'd like to say?
Yes, sir. Your Honor, I want to genuinely apologize for my actions and the resulting negative impact inflicted onto others. I made a grave mistake while trying to fight through various emotional issues and stress. I am extremely remorseful for the panic, fear, and various range of negative emotions that were experienced across the nation. I want to specifically acknowledge and take accountability for the pain and embarrassment that I inflicted upon my family, my church family, friends, neighbors, community, and all of those who were directly involved in search efforts for me. I also extend my sincerest apologies to the Hoover Police Department and every other law enforcement agency and personnel for the position that I put them in and for the resources used. I absolutely regret my decision, and in hindsight wish that I had cried for help in a totally different manner. My prayer is that I will be extended grace and given the opportunity to redeem who I truly am and restore the positively esteemed character that I have worked so hard to attain for the 25 years of my life prior to this incident. I wholeheartedly can say that I've never had any malicious intent to hurt anyone. And I pray that you will feel my sincerity, and that as I prepare to pick up the pieces and go on to restore my life, that you will witness the fruition of grace.
But we're not going to say anything yet.
Okay. All right. Thank you, Ms. Russell. When you first made this report, you alarmed the community, this community, and you really alarmed the country because the story went nationwide, as you know.
Yes, sir.
And then when it came out that it wasn't true, not only was this community outraged, but the country was outraged. What you did was you wasted a lot of government resources, and you're going to pay for that. You're going to pay every dime of that in restitution in this case. It would be a waste of government resources to have a trial in this case. So you have taken responsibility, and we're not going to do that. It would be a waste of government resources to put you in jail. One of the most expensive things the government does is incarcerate people. And we need to reserve our jails for people who are genuinely a threat to the community. Although we're very upset about what you've done, you're not a threat to the community. I'm not going to treat you any differently than I would treat any other first-time nonviolent misdemeanor offender. Accordingly, it is the judgment and sentence of this court that you're sentenced in each of these cases to 6 months in the county jail. These sentences are consecutive with each other, and these sentences are suspended. You're placed on probation for 12 months, supervised probation. It's a condition of your probation that you pay full amount of restitution, which is $17,974.88, paid to the city of Hoover, 100 Municipal Lane, Hoover, Alabama, 35216. Pay that through the clerk's office on the first floor in this building, so we have a record of it. I'm also sentencing you to serve, and this is a condition of your probation, 100 hours of community service. I want to see, when we come back, I want to see that you've made progress, if not have completed that community service. I understand that you're currently getting mental health counseling, is that right?
Yes, sir.
It is a condition at this point of your probation that you continue getting mental health counseling, and I'd like to see some proof that you're getting that counseling when we come back. This case is set for a review hearing. We're going to review the amount of restitution that's been paid, community service, and that date is October 16 at 9 a.m. Anything else for the state or the defense?
Nothing from the defense.
No, you're not.
Yeah, I'm very disappointed in the decision not to give any jail time. She gave an apology today, and unfortunately, to me, it's like 7-8 months late. I don't know why we didn't hear that back in July. And it's just unfortunate. There were a lot of people, I mean, the judge commented, not only in our community, but across the nation, that were real concerned for those couple of days. The $17,800, whatever their restitution, is not really close to really what the restitution should be. And bottom line, there should be consequences for your actions. It appears to me here the consequences are for the parents, because I would assume that they're the ones that are going to have to pay for this. But the judge has spoken. I do want to thank the legislature. The last press conference I gave, I talked about that this should be a felony, and I think we're headed that direction. So hopefully, if anybody does anything like this again, then they'll be prosecuted in a different manner. But again, we leave here happy that it's over. Disappointed that there will be no jail time whatsoever.
Could you give us a better figure as far as a ballpark amount?
The real figure should probably be in the 40s, at least $40,000 to $50,000 for all the money that we spent.
How do you feel that we still don't know why?
Yeah, I mean, that's the deal. We as the state said, we still don't know where she was during that period of time. Obviously, probably had help. We don't know who the help was. And again, to me, it's a little slap on the wrist. Pay your money and go forward. And I just think, because I'm just a little disappointed in all that. I'd have felt better if they didn't want to give any jail time. Let's at least discuss where you were and find out what the circumstances were. I mean, we talk about everybody's got mental illness today, and she's got issues. Please get the help that she needs, and hopefully she'll lead a good life from here on.
When you were listening to her apology, did you feel that in her heart it was sincere?
Yeah, I mean, I think she's apologized, and I think she obviously went through a lot from. There were a lot of people upset, and I think she and her family heard that after the fact that when she returned home. But again, I'd have felt better about an apology back in July, not in March, almost April. I would have felt a lot better to hear it earlier.
At sentencing back in March, she was also ordered to pay nearly $18,000 in restitution to the city of Hoover. Now, today we learned that she has been making payments. However, the attorney for the state attorney general's office asked for Russell to be placed on a payment plan in order to have more consistency in those payments. So the judge ordered her to make a minimum monthly payment of $50. That is not sitting well with Hoover Police Chief Nick Durzis, who's also not happy with what she's paid so far.
Should be some consequences for your actions, and I realize she did the community service, which is fantastic, but a couple $100 in 12 months is kind of a slap at us, to be frank about it. Not happy.
She's trying to consistently make a payment, and when you're not working, it's kind of difficult, and we're not calling upon her parents to do this. This is something that she's going to do.
Carlee has officially checked the community service off of that list. She's completed well over the 100 required hours across several organizations such as Community Food Bank and the Salvation Army. Her attorneys also say she's been going to that mandatory counseling. The outstanding issue right now seems to be the restitution, though her attorneys say she's been making small but consistent payments toward the nearly $18,000. The prosecution feel like that is not enough. They say Russell paid $49 in June, close to $120 in July, and $30 each month in September and October. Because of the inconsistent payment amounts, the judge ordered Russell to pay a minimum of $50 each month going forward. Hoover Police Chief Nick Durzis led the search for Carlee during the kidnapping hoax. He feels the $50 minimum is not even close to enough given the amount of time, effort, and resources used when searching for Russell.
A year ago we were here, and the judge made a comment that he expected to see a sizable amount decreased in that fine from last year, and I think we've got a couple $100, and then we're meeting again in March, and that's $50 a month. And by my mathematical calculation, real quick, I think we do the $50 a month. It'll take about 28 years if we continue this. It'll take about 28 years.
She's completed over 100 hours of community service. Very good, Ms. Russell.
Do you feel that the change that was made after this case with the state law is going to make a difference in the future?
Absolutely. I think people that think about doing something like that for the notoriety, whatever the situation was, I think people, when they realize they will probably go to jail for a minimum of a year, I do think it'll make a difference.
I haven't been able to find a single thing on the latest hearing, which is disappointing, but if I do, I'll make an update. In the meantime, you know I save the best for last.
When I talked to you all on Saturday, you also said your daughter is a fighter and she would find a way back to you.
I felt that in my heart.
Is that what happened?
She did. She found her way back to us. However, we can't discuss the details of that.
But they say one thing is clear. Do you believe she was fighting for her life?
Oh, she definitely fought for her life. Huh? There were moments when she physically had to fight for her life, and there were moments when she had to mentally fight for her life.
But she made it back to you.
She made it back.
Yeah, she did make it back.
She was 10 minutes from my house. She was 10 minutes from my house.
Carlee has given detectives her statement so that they can continue to pursue her abductor.
Do you believe that there's an abductor still out there?
Absolutely. Absolutely.
She was 10 minutes from my house.
If there was someone who was abducting women on the side of the road, we would have descriptions. We would know who they were. We would know what kind of cars to look for, because all of us who live in the area were really on pins and needles for the whole weekend. Everyone was on edge. I'm married, and I told my wife, don't stop for anyone who's on the side of the road. Just call 911 or call the emergency helpline. I called my family members and other friends. Make sure you don't stop, because everyone was afraid that there were some kidnappers on the loose. But now that she returned home on her own on Saturday night, and there's been nothing from the police department except a statement where they say they stated she called and said that there was a child on the side of the road. However, this I-459, the interstate, is a very, very heavily traveled interstate, and no one else saw what she claimed to see.
10 minutes from my house.
It's a struggle, as sometimes you're numb, as sometimes the tears just flow.
She was 10 minutes from my house.
We probably have had 2 hours of sleep in the past 2 days.
If it's a chance for her to put up a fight to try to save her life, she's going to do everything she can to put up a fight. So we're asking that the community, again, people even in other states, to do the same thing. If you can please spare any time, if you'll just go to gas stations, hotels, just anywhere. If it's a chance for her to put up a fight to try to save her life, she's going to do everything she can to put up a fight. So we're asking that the community, again, people even in other states, to do the same thing. If you can please spare any time.
She's having to deal with the trauma of people just making completely false allegations about her.
10 minutes from my house.
One leg out, other leg in, other leg out.
Going to jail, you going to jail, you going to jail, hot damn it, you going to jail. Lock his ass up, lock his ass up, you going to jail, you going to jail.
It's a struggle, as sometimes you're numb, as sometimes the tears just flow. She definitely fought for her life.
She was 10 minutes from my house.